Bio ICSE 2019. Name the following. The layer of the eyeball that provides nourishment to the eye. Choroid layer. Next question. One gaseous compound which depletes the ozone layer. CFC, chlorofluorocarbons, or CCl4. Next question. The structure which connects the placenta and the fetus. Umbilical cord. A pair of corresponding chromosomes of the same shape and size and derived one from each parent. Homologous chromosomes. Question number 5. The compound formed when hemoglobin combines with carbon dioxide in blood. Carbaminohemoglobin by HbCO2. Next question. Correct and rewrite the statement by changing the biological term that is underlined for each statement. The theory, এটা কেন জানি না স্টার দেওয়া আছে, maybe this is not there in the syllabus anymore. The theory of inheritance or acquired inheritance of acquired characters was proposed by Watson and Crick. Was proposed by Lamarck. So that is wrong. Next, the protective sac which develops around the developing embryo is called pericardium. False, is called amnion. The protective sac which develops around the developing embryo is called amnion. Next, maintaining balance of the body and coordinating muscular activities carried out by cerebellum. Next, the kidney is composed of a number of nephrons. Uniferous tubules. Next, the part of the eye which can be donated from a clinically dead person is called cornea. Next, give suitable biological reasons for the following statement. The birth rate in India is very high. Most of the people who belong to rural area are illiterate, superstitious and ignorant. They don't know much about the function of reproductive system and the use of contraceptives, which is major reason for population explosion in India. They consider children as the gift of God and a sign of prosperity. Desire for a male child is an unimportant reason. Next, carbon monoxide is dangerous when inhaled. Hemoglobin has a very strong affinity for carbon monoxide, and a stable compound called carboxyhemoglobin is formed when carbon monoxide is inhaled. It cuts down the capacity of blood to transport oxygen, which may lead to death. Hence, it is very dangerous to inhale carbon monoxide. Next question. Root hairs become flaccid and droop when excess fertilizers are added to moist soil around them. When excess fertilizer is added to moist soil, solute concentration increases, making the soil a hypertonic solution. In turn, outward flow of water occurs when root hair shells, causing plasmolysis of cell. Hence, root hairs become flaccid and droop down. Next question. Acid rain. Acid rain is harmful to the environment. Acid rain has oxides of nitrogen and sulfur dissolved in it, which decreases its pH value, thus making it acidic. This damages vegetation, corrodes monuments, statues, buildings, etc., and also causes harm to human health, aquatic life, crops, and pollutes soil. Next question. All life on earth is supposed by photosynthesis. Our food chain starts with producers, that is green plants, as they are only organisms which can prepare their own food by photosynthesis process. All other living organisms depend upon them directly or indirectly for food. Photosynthesis is thus the process by which oxygen is released to our atmosphere, which is a life supporting gas. So you can say that directly or indirectly all life on earth is supported by photosynthesis. Next question, match the following. No. Cranial nerve 12 pairs, Leydig cell testosterone, acetylcholine neurotransmitter, spiral nerves 31 pairs, sneezing natural reflex. Next, choose the correct answer from the four options given below. Write according to the According to the pulse rate, where exactly does a doctor press on our wrist? Artery. Next, in a human male, a sperm will contain either X or Y chromosome. A muscular wall is absent in capillary. On which day of the menstrual cycle does ovulation take place? 14th day. Which of the following does not affect the rate of transpiration? Age of the plant. Identify the odd term in each and name the category in which remaining three belong. Glucose, starch, cellulose, calcium. Odd one is calcium. Category others are different types of carbohydrates. Next, Addison's disease, Cushing syndrome, acromegaly, leukemia. Odd one is leukemia. The rest are hormonal disorders. Next, insulin, adrenaline, pepsin, thyroxine. Pepsin, odd one. Category others are hormones while pepsin is an enzyme. Axon, dendron, phyton, cyton. Photon, cyton. Capillary. Huh? Na. Axon, dendron, photon, cyton. Odd one is photon. Next. Why photon? The rest are parts of neuron. Next, chickenpox, color blindness, hemophilia, albinism. Odd one is chickenpox, others are genetic disorders. Polythene bag, crop residue, animal waste, decaying vegetables. Odd one is polythene bag. Category others are biodegradable pollutants. Next, expand the following biological abbreviations. ABA, abscisic acid. IAA, indole 3 acetic acid. ATP, adenosine triphosphate. DAA, deoxyribonucleic acid. TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. Identify the pollution. Water pollution. A picture is given. Name one pollutant that causes the above pollution. Detergent, sewage, domestic waste cause water pollution. Next, mention the impact of this pollution on human health. Water pollution can cause various health hazards in human beings like jaundice, typhoid, cholera, and diarrhea. Next, state one measure to control this pollution. Industrial effluents should be treated before disposing them into water bodies. Sewage treatment plants should be set up to treat sewage as well as recycling plastic but metal. Next, what is pollutant? Explain the term. Pollutant is any constituent which, when added to water or soil or air, brings about undesirable effect on the environment, affecting the life of living organisms. In other words, any element or constituent that pollutes either soil, water, or air is called pollutant. Next, given below is an experimental setup to demonstrate a particular tropic movement in germinating seeds. Study the diagram and answer the questions that follow. Parts level 1 and 2. এটা বলছে perforated trough, moist sawdust, germinating seed or brick. Label the parts 1 and 2. Radicle and plumule. Name the tropic movement shown by part 1. Hydrotropism. Part 1 is affected by two stimuli. Name them. Which one of the two is stronger? The two stimuli are water or moisture and gravity of Earth. Which one is stronger? Water is stronger stimulus as compared to Earth's gravity. What is thigmotropism? Give one example. Thigmotropism is the growth movement of plants in response to touch stimulus. Example: the tendrils of cascata coil around a support is response to touch. the tendrils of cascata coil around a support in response to touch. Next question. What is meant by positive and negative tropic movement in plants? Um, if the growth movement of plant parts is towards the stimuli, then the plant shows positive tropic movement. But if the growth movement of the plant parts is away from the stimuli, then it shows negative tropic movement. Mention the exact location for the following: testes, incus, thylakoids, amniotic fluid, corpus callosum. Testes are located in thin-walled sac-like structure called scrotal sac. Incus is the middle of three bones of ear which is connected to malleus on one end and steps on the other end and is present in the inner ear of human beings. Thylakoids are closely packed flattened sacs found in the stoma of chloroplast. Amniotic fluid is found in the amnion. It fills the space between amnion and fetus. Corpus callosum is a bridge of nerve fibers which connects the two cerebral hemispheres. Next, the diagram given below represents an experiment to prove the importance of a factor in photosynthesis. Answer the questions that follow. One diagram is given: black paper, clip paper, which name the factor studied in the experiment. Sunlight. Next, what will you observe in the experimental leaf after the starch test? After the starch test, we observe that parts of the leaf which remains uncovered will turn to blue-black color indicating the presence of starch, but the covered portion of the leaf will turn brown in color which indicates the absence of starch. Next, explain the process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process by which chlorophyll containing cells in the presence of suitable factors like water, carbon dioxide, sunlight prepare glucose and release oxygen gas into the atmosphere as a byproduct. Next, give a balanced chemical equation to represent the process of photosynthesis. The balanced chemical equation representing photosynthesis process is as follows: 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. Next, draw a neat level diagram of an experimental setup to show that oxygen is released during photosynthesis. A diagram has been drawn: inverted test tube inside a beaker of water. The water is named as pond water, and inside the inverted test tube there is a hydrilla plant. Sunlight is given through the direction of sunlight has been pointed towards the glass flask, and support to keep the funnel off the bottom. সাপোর্ট টু কিপ দ্য ফানেল অফ দ্য বটম, এটা হচ্ছে টেস্ট টিউবের নিচে একটা ফানেল আছে, তার ভেতর হাইড্রিলা প্লান্ট আর ইনভার্টেড টেস্ট টিউব আর বাবলস অফ অক্সিজেন ইনসাইড দ্য ইনভার্টেড টেস্ট টিউব অ্যান্ড অক্সিজেন. A figure has been drawn, page number 533 of the previous year question solved papers 2023 examination ICSE, and this paper is of 2019. The picture is given: oxygen is released during photosynthesis. Show that oxygen is released during photosynthesis. The diagram has been drawn and proven. State the function of the following. Medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata controls the activity of internal organs and other involuntary functions like beating of heart, peristaltic movement, breathing movement, etc. Next question. Cytokinesis. Cytokinesis stimulate plant growth by cell division and cell enlargement. They inhibit apical dominance, prevents aging, breaks seed dominancy, delays senescence. Senescence. Senescence means I don't know. Delays senescence. Next, tears. Function of tears. Tears clean the front surface of our eye by removing dust particles and the enzyme lysozyme present in tears kills the germs. Next, coronary artery. Coronary artery supplies oxygenated blood to heart muscles. Seminal vesicles. Their secretion from seminal vesicles activates the sperms and provides a medium for their transportation. Next, the diagram given below represents an organ system in the human body. Study the same and answer the questions that follow. Identify the system, excretory system. এবার label the parts. Ureter, sphincter muscle. The structure labeled as 5 is urethra. Next, urethra function. Acha, name the urethra function. The structure labeled in 5 is urethra. Urethra implies the empties the urinary bladder. Urethra empties the urinary bladder at regular intervals. Carries the urine from bladder to outside the body. The structure labeled as 1 is kidney. The structural and functional unit of kidney is nephron. Next, which is the fluid accumulates in part 3. Urine gets accumulated in urinary bladder, that is part 3. Urea is the main nitrogenous waste present in urine. Name. Next, draw a level diagram showing the longitudinal section of part 1. Longitudinal section of part 1 হচ্ছে kidney, তার level diagram. Longitudinal section of kidney. The picture of kidney has been drawn. The parts labeled in kidney are nephron, ileum, renal artery, renal vein, ureter, medulla, cortex, renal pyramid, papilla, renal pelvis, nephron, ileum, renal artery, renal vein, ureter, medulla, cortex, renal pyramid, papilla, renal pelvis. Next, the diagram given below represent an endocrine gland in the human body. Study the diagram and answer the questions that follow. Name the endocrine gland, where it is located. It is pituitary gland. It is located in the brain between hypothalamus and pineal gland. Next, what is the above gland referred to as master gland? The pituitary gland is called the master gland as it controls the functions of other endocrine glands and also the main body functions such as growth. Next, name the hormone which in deficiency causes diabetes insipidus. Hormone is ADH or vasopressin. In diabetes insipidus, there is no sugar in urine, but it is pale. In diabetes mellitus, sugar is present in urine. Next, name the explain the term hormone. Hormone are chemical secretions from specific glands which are poured directly into bloodstream and produce effect in one or more target organs only. Tropic hormones stimulate other glands for the production of some other hormones. For example, thyroid stimulating hormone stimulates thyroid gland to secrete thyroxine. Next, which lobe of the above gland secretes oxytocin? Posterior lobe or neurohypophysis? Posterior lobe or neurohypophysis? ACTH? Anterior lobe or adenohypophysis? Growth hormone, anterior lobe or adenohypophysis? Which lobe of the above gland secretes oxytocin? Posterior lobe or neurohypophysis? ACTH, anterior lobe or adenohypophysis? Growth hormone, anterior lobe or adenohypophysis? Given below is an apparatus which was set up to investigate a physiological process in plants. The setup was placed in bright sunlight. Answer the questions that follow. Bell jar, water drops, plant, rubber sheet, glass plate, Vaseline. Mane an inverted bell jar. Inside that inverted bell jar is a plant, and rubber sheet is there, glass plate is there, vaseline is there, and the plant is there. So bell jar, water drops is seen inside the bell jar, plant, rubber sheet, glass plate, vaseline. Name the process being studied, define the process. Transpiration is the process being studied, is the process by which water is lost in the form of water vapor from leaves and other aerial part of the plant. Next, why was the pot enclosed in a rubber sheet? The pot was enclosed in a rubber sheet to prevent the escape of water in the form of vapor from the pot. Next, mention two external factors which can accelerate the above process. The pot was enclosed in a rubber sheet to prevent the escape of water in the form of water vapor from the pot. Temperature and velocity of wind, both if both temperature and velocity wind are high, then process of transpiration increases. Ki bolo, what was why was the first question was name the process being studied, define the process. Transpiration is the process being studied, is the process by which water is lost in the form of water vapor from leaves and other part of the plant. Next, name why was the pot enclosed in rubber sheet? The pot was enclosed in rubber sheet to prevent the escape of water in the form of water vapor from the pot. Next, mention two external factors that can accelerate the process. Temperature and velocity of wind are the two external factors that can accelerate the above process. If both temperature and wind velocity are high, then process of transpiration increases. Next, leads to adaptation in plants to reduce the above process. Adaptation in plants to reduce transpiration. First is the stomata may be sunken or covered by hairs, or their number may be reduced. The leaves may become narrower. The leaves may be covered with thick cuticle. Next, draw a neat level diagram of a stomatal apparatus. Neat level diagram of a stomatal apparatus. Epidermis cell, stomatal pore, thin outer wall, nucleus, subsidiary cells, thick inner wall, sap vacuole, chloroplast, guard cells. This is the stomatal apparatus. Chloroplast, sap vacuole, thick inner wall, subsidiary cells, guard cells, epidermis cell, stomatal pore, thin outer wall, nucleus. Next, given below are the two stages in evolution. Huh? Of man. Study them and answer the questions that follow. Oh, this answer is not given. Identify the Australopithecus and Neanderthal man from the above pictures. Answer is not given. Mention two characteristic features of each stages. Answer is not given. Who proposed the theory of natural selection? Answer is not given. Name the organism used as an example to explain industrial melanism. Answer is not given. Give two examples of vestigial organs in humans. Answer is not given. And God knows why star has been put, but star shouldn't be put against the question because this is there in the syllabus. Maybe at that time it was not there in the syllabus and that's why star is given, but this answers has to be prepared. Next question. In Mendel's experiment, tall pea plants are dominant over dwarf pea plants. In F1 generation, phenotype of plants will be tall and genotype is ক্যাপিটাল টি স্মল টি মানে হেটেরোজাইগাস ডমিনেন্ট। পেরেন্টাল জেনারেশন পিওর টল পি প্লান্ট মানে ক্যাপিটাল টি ইন্টু পিওর ডোয়ার্ফ পি প্লান্ট স্মল টি। গ্যামেটস ক্যাপিটাল টি into small t. F1 generation forms capital T small t tall. Now draw a Punnett square board to show the gametes and offspring when both the parents are heterozygous for tallness. The Punnett square has been drawn. Capital T small t by capital T small t, capital T small t, t, tt মানে দুটো capital T, tall into tall মানে ক্যাপিটাল টি স্মল টি ইন্টু ক্যাপিটাল টি স্মল টি দিয়ে Punnett square has been drawn. Capital T T T T small t capital T small t T T T T T means small letters. Sorry, T T means capital letters and small t means small t only. Then phenotypic ratio is 3 is to 1, genotypic ratio is 1 is to 2 is to 1. Next, state Mendel's law of dominance. It states that in a cross between two breeding lines out of the pair of contrasting characters, the one that is expressed is the first generation. Expressed is the first generation is dominant and the other one is not expressed is recessive. Only dominant trait is expressed in first generation. Next, what is dihybrid cross? Dihybrid cross is a cross between two pure breeding different varieties of organisms considering alternative traits of two different characters. Next, given below is a diagram representing a stage during the mitotic cell division. Study the diagram and answer the questions that follow. Identify the stage by giving suitable reasons. It is anaphase stage of mitosis as the other two sister chromatids are separated from each other and moving towards opposite poles by contraction of spindle fibers. Next, is it a plant or animal cell? Give reason to support your answer. It is the anaphase stage of mitosis as the two sister chromatids are separated from each other and moving towards opposite poles by contraction of spindle fibers. Next, is it plant or animal cell? Give reason to support your answer. It is an animal cell as there is presence of centrioles and formation of aster cell wall absent. Next, draw a. It is an animal cell as there it is an animal cell as there is presence of centrioles and formation of aster cell wall absent. Next, draw a neat level diagram of the stage which follows the one shown in the diagram. Mane after anaphase comes telophase and the telophase has been drawn. The picture of telophase has been drawn. Cleavage furrow, nucleolus reappears, reappearance of nuclear membrane, centriole, aster, recondensing of chromatids into chromatin fibers. Next, how many chromosomes will each daughter cell have after the completion of the above division? Each daughter cell have 4 chromosomes as in mitosis process the number of chromosomes remain constant. Next question, name of the nitrogenous bases adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine. Next, answer the following questions briefly. How are cytons and axons placed in brain and spinal cord? Each daughter axons are placed in inner portion whereas cytons are placed in outer portion of brain, but in spinal cord Axons are present in outer side and cell bodies, or cytons are placed in inner portions. Next, which part of the human ear gives dynamic balance and static balance to the body? Sensory cells in semicircular canals are concerned with dynamic balance of the body. Sensory patches in utriculus and sacculus are concerned with static balance of the body. Next, explain how the human eye adapts itself to dim light and bright light. Bright light and dim light. When we move from brightly lighted area to a dark room that is in dim light, we experience difficulty in seeing objects for some time. Slowly, our vision is improved. This is called dark adaptation. The pupil dilates to allow more light to enter the eyes, and rhodopsin or visual purple is generated. When we enter a brightly lighted area after being in a deeply lit area for a period of time, we experience a dazzling light for short period, after which our vision improves. This is called the light adaptation. Pupil constricts to allow less light to enter our eyes, and rhodopsin pigment is generated, not degenerated. Now a picture they have drawn, it is, it has not been asked in the question, but explain, the question explain is given, and that's why they have drawn two eyes. One is bright light, one is dim light. Pupil contracts, iris, cornea, pupil dilates, iris, pupil dilates money expands, our iris. Two eyes have been drawn, one is of bright light and one is of dim light. Next, what is parthenocarpy? Give one example. Development of fruits without fertilization is called parthenocarpy. Example, banana, apple. Next, ancient two objectives of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Two objectives of such Bharat Abhiyan are to eliminate open defecation by building individual and public toilets even in the remotest areas, to make our villages, cities, and towns clean by removing wastes from streets, roads, parks, gardens, houses, etc. Next, the diagram given below represents a system in the human body. Study the diagram and answer the following questions. Female reproductive system. Label the parts marked 5 and 5. Oviducal, funnel, and cervix. Next, name the two hormones secreted by one. Ovary secretes estrogen and progesterone. Next, mention the number and the name of the part involved in fertilization and implantation from the above diagram. Oviduct is the site of fertilization and uterus is the site of implantation. Mention the surgical methods of contraception of human males and females, human male vasectomy in males and tubectomy in females. Bio ICSE 2018. The blood vessel which supplies blood to the liver, hepatic artery. The number of chromosomes present in a nerve cell of a human being, 46 pairs. 46. The layer of a eyeball that forms the transparent cornea, sclera or sclerotic layer. The wax-like layer on the epidermis of leaves which reduces transpiration, cuticle. Next, choose the correct answer from each of the four options given below. The number of spinal nerves in a human being are 31 pairs. Which one of the following is non-biodegradable? ADDT. Aqueous humor is present between the Aqueous humor is present between the cornea and lens. A strong chemical substance which is used on objects and surfaces in our surroundings to kill germs. This is not there in the syllabus anymore. Which one of the following is a greenhouse gas? Methane. Complete the following paragraph by filling in the blanks to with the appropriate words. To test a leaf for starch, the leaf is boiled in water to kill the cells. It is then boiled in methylated spirit to remove chlorophyll. The leaf is dipped in warm water to soften it. It is placed in petri dish and iodine is added. Iodine solution is added. The region of the leaf which contains starch turns. Um, Answer 4 is not given. The blue black. To taste a leaf for starch, the leaf is boiled in water to kill the cells. It is then boiled to methylated spirit to remove chlorophyll. The leaf is dipped in warm water to soften it. It is placed in petri dish and uh, iodine solution is added. The region of leaf which contains starch turns blue black, and the region which does not contain starch turns yellowish brown. Match the items given in column A and most appropriate ones in column B and rewrite the correct matching pairs. Cretinism, hyposecretion of thyroxine. Diabetes insipidus, hyposecretion of vasopressin. Exophthalmic goiter, hypersecretion of thyroxine. Adrenal virilism, hypersecretion of adrenal cortex. Dwarfism, hyposecretion of growth hormone. Next, correct the following statements by changing the underlined words. A normal pale yellow color of urine is due to the presence of pigment urochrome. The outermost layer of meninges is dura mater. The cell sap of root hair is hypertonic. Dash support starts from the leaves to all parts of the plant. Phloem. Dash bonds are present between the complementary nitrogenous bases of DNA. Hydrogen bonds are present between the complementary nitrogenous bases of DNA. Choose between the two options and answer the questions. An example is illustrated below. Corolla or calyx, which one is outer wall? Calyx. Blood in the renal artery or renal vein, which one has more urea? Blood in renal artery. Perilymph or endolymph, which one surrounds the organ of Corti? Endolymph. Lenticels or stomata, which one remains open always? Lenticels. Sclerotic layer or choroid layer, which one forms the iris? Choroid layer. Blood in the pulmonary artery or pulmonary vein, which one contains less oxyhemoglobin? Blood in pulmonary artery. Next question. Given below is a representation of the type of pollution. Study the picture and answer the questions that follow. Name the type of pollution shown in the picture. Air pollution. Next, name one source of this pollution. Gases emitted from factories, industries, and automobile exhausts. How does this pollution affect human health? Air pollution causes respiratory problems and lung disorders like bronchitis, or it also leads to poor visibility and asthma. Next, write one measure to reduce this pollution. Air pollution. Acha, installation of tall chimneys in factories and chimneys should be filtered with filters and electrostatic precipitators. Also, use of efficient engines, unleaded petrol, and CNG in automobiles help to reduce air pollution. Next question. State one gaseous compound that leads to the depletion of ozone layer and creates ozone holes. CFC, chlorofluorocarbons. Choose the odd one out from the following terms given and name the category to which others belong. Nose, tongue, arm, eye. Odd one is arm category sense organs. Detergents, X-rays, sewage, oil peels. Odd one is X-ray category water pollutants. Next, lumen, muscular tissue, connective tissue, pericardium. Odd one is lumen, category type of tissues. Dendrites, medullary sheath, axon, spinal cord. Spinal cord, category parts of neuron. Centrosome, cell wall, cell membrane, large vacuoles. Odd one is centrosome, category parts of a plant shell. Next, prostate gland, Cowper's gland, seminal vesicle, seminiferous tubules. Odd one is seminiferous tubules. Category is accessory glands of human male reproductive system. Next, the diagram given below represents a stage during cell division. Name and study the questions that follow. Identify whether it is a plant or animal cell. It is an animal cell as centrioles are present. Name the stage depicted in the diagram. Metaphase of mitosis. Also, this one is an animal cell as centrioles are present. Next question. Name the stage depicted in the diagram. The stage depicted in the diagram is metaphase of mitosis. What is the unique feature observed in this stage? All the duplicated chromosomes are aligned on the equatorial plane and the chromosomes are attached to the spindle fibers through centromere. Next, name the type of cell division that occurs during replacement of old leaves by new ones, formation of gametes. Replacement by old leaves and new by new ones, mitosis or formation of gametes, meiosis. Next question. What is the stage that comes before the stage shown in the diagram? Prophase, mane before metaphase or of mitosis, prophase comes. Then draw a neat level diagram of the stage that mentioned in 4 above, keeping the centromere number constant. Early prophase or late prophases diagram has been drawn. Early prophase separating chromosomes aster rays centromere condensed chromosome are late prophase disintegrating nuclear membrane spindle fibers. Next, mention the exact location of the following epididymis inside the scrotum and upper pole of testes. Lacrimal gland at the upper sideward portion of the orbit of the eyes. Next question, Malleus. In the middle ear between the tympanic membrane and the incus. Ida thoughts on the stages and tips of on the edges and tips of leaves. Next, pulmonary semilunar valve at the opening of right ventricle into the pulmonary artery. Question number 3. Given below are diagram showing the different stages in the process of fertilization of an egg in the human female reproductive tract. Study the diagram and answer the questions. Arrange the letters given below each diagram. Key A, B, C, D, logical sequence to show the correct order in the process of fertilization. বিসি ডিসিবিএ, চারটে এরকম প্রসেস অফ ফার্টিলাইজেশনের ডিতে আছে জাস্ট একটা গোলের ভেতর গোল। সিতে হচ্ছে অনেকগুলো 1 2 3 4 5, পাঁচটা ওরকম শিঙের মতো বেরিয়ে গেছে। বিতে হলো 1 2 3 4 5, আরো পাঁচটা শিঙের মতো বেরিয়ে গেছে, একই ভেতরের গোল। আর এতে হচ্ছে একটা বড় গোল বাইরে, তার ভেতরে আর একটা গোল, ভেতরে দুটো ব্ল্যাক ব্ল্যাক গোল। Next, where does fertilization normally take place? Fertilization normally takes place in oviduct, মানে fallopian tube. Implantation is the process of fixing of blitocyst to the walls of uterus. Next, uh, mention the chromosome number of the egg and zygote in humans. Chromosome number of egg is 23, chromosome number of zygote is 46. Explain the term gestation. How long does gestation last in humans? The full term of development of an embryo in the uterus is called gestation. It is about 280 days in humans. Draw a neat level diagram of a mature human sperm. Mature human sperm, neat level diagram. One acrosome, মানে হেড, মিডল পিস আর টেল। হেড, মিডল পিস, টেল। হেডে আছে অ্যাক্রোজোম, নিউক্লিয়াস, মিডল পিসে আছে সেন্ট্রিওল, মাইটোকন্ড্রিয়া, টেইলে আছে অ্যাক্সিয়াল ফিলামেন্ট। নেক্সট, a potted plant with varied leaves was taken in order to prove a factor necessary for photosynthesis. The potted plant was kept in dark for 24 hours and placed in bright sunlight for a few hours. Observe the diagram and answer the question. What aspect of photosynthesis is being tested in the above diagram? Chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. Represent the process of photosynthesis in the form of balanced equation. 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. Next, why was the plant kept in dark before beginning the experiment? Plant was kept in dark to discharge the leaves uh, so that the starch already present in the plant does not interfere with the results of the experiment. Next, what will be the result of starch test performed on leaf A shown in the diagram? Give an example of a plant with variated leaves. The green portion of the leaf will turn blue black, indicating the presence of starch, and the pale yellow portion of the leaf will turn brown, indicating the absence of starch. Next, draw a neat level diagram of a chloroplast. A neat level diagram of a chloroplast has been drawn. What are the labelings? Let us see. Fluid filled space, outer membrane, ribosome, stomata মানে aqueous filled, starch grain, lipid globule, granum, stomata, stroma lamellae, thylakoids, inner membrane fluid fill space, outer membrane, ribosomes, stroma aqueous fluid, starch grain, lipid globule, granum, stroma lamellae, thylakoids. Next, the diagram given below shows the inner structure of a spinal cord depicting a phenomena. Study the diagram and answer the questions. Name the phenomena that is depicted in the diagram. Define the phenomena. Uh, Reflex action. It is an automatic, quick, and involuntary action in the body brought about by a stimulus. Give the technical term for the point of contact between the two nerve cells, synapse. Name the parts numbered 1, 2, 3. Sensory neuron, motor neuron, gray matter. How does the arrangement of neurons in the spinal cord differ from that of brain? In spinal cord, the gray matter containing the cell bodies of neurons lies on inner side and white matter containing myelinated actions on outside, whereas in the brain, gray matter is outside and white matter lies on inner side. Next, mention two ways by which spinal cord is protected in our body. Spinal cord is covered by three membranous layer of meninges which protects it, and also its central canal is filled with cerebrospinal fluid which absorbs shocks. Next, give appropriate biological or technical terms for the following: process of maintaining water and salt balance in the blood, osmoregulation, hormones which regulate secretion of the other endocrine glands, tropic hormones. Next, movement of molecules of a substance from their higher concentration to lower concentration when they are in direct contact, diffusion, the condition in which pair of centrosomes carry similar alleles of a particular character, homozygous. Next, the uh, complex consisting of a DNA strand and a core of histones, nucleosome. The onset of menstruation in a young girl, menarche. Next, squeezing out of white blood cells from the capillaries into the surrounding tissues, diapedesis. The fluid which surrounds the fetus, amniotic fluid. The relaxation phase of heart, diastole. The difference between birth rate and death rate, growth rate of population. Next question. The diagram given below is that of a structure present in human kidney. Name the structure represented in the diagram. Nephron or uniferous tubule or renal tubule. What is the liquid entering part 1 called? Glomerular filtrate. Name two substances present in the liquid that are reabsorbed in the tubule. Two substances present in glomerular filtrate are water and glucose. What is the fluid that comes to part 2 called? Urine. Name the nitrogenous waste in it. Urea is the main nitrogenous waste in urine. Next, mention the three main steps involved in the formation of fluid mentioned in three above. Urine is the main nitrogenous waste in the urine. Name the substance. Acha, three steps. Three steps are ultrafiltration, selective reabsorption, tubular secretion, and glomerular filtration. Ultrafiltration, selective reabsorption, tubular secretion, glomerular filtration. Next, name the substance which may be present in the fluid in part 2 if a substance suffers from diabetes mellitus, glucose. Next, differentiate between the following pairs on the basis of what is indicated in the brackets, leaf and liver. Form in which glucose is stored. Glucose is stored in the form of starch, leaf. Our liver, glucose is stored in the form of glycogen. So in leaf, glucose is stored in the form of starch. In liver, glucose is stored in the form of glycogen. ATP and ADP, expand the abbreviations. ATP is adenosine triphosphate. A ATP মানে adenosine triphosphate. AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Next, testosterone and estrogen, organ which secretes. Testosterone is secreted by Leydig cells present in the testes. Estrogen is secreted by ovaries. Ureter or urethra. Ureter carries urine from kidneys to urinary bladder. Urethra carries urine from urinary bladder to outside of the body. Hypotonic solution and hypertonic solution, condition of plant when placed in them. Hypotonic solution, when a cell is placed in hypotonic solution, it gets swollen up and the condition is called turgidity. Hypertonic solution, when a cell is placed in hypertonic solution, it shrinks and the condition is called flaccidity. Next, given below is a diagram of human blood smear. Study the diagram and answer the questions that follow. Name the components numbered from 1 to 4. RBC, WBC, platelets, plasma. Difference between A structural difference between RBC and WBC. RBC are biconcave disc shaped, WBC are irregular amoeboid shaped. RBCs do not have nucleus. WBCs are characterized by the presence of large central nucleus. Next, name the soluble protein found in part 4 which forms insoluble threads during clotting of blood. Fibrinogen. Next, what is the average lifespan of component numbered 1? Average absence of nucleus in RBCs make them biconcave. Oh, average lifespan is 120 days. Name the soluble protein found in part 4 which forms insoluble threads during clotting of blood. Fibrinogen. Or what is the average lifespan of component in numbered 1? About 120 days. Next, component numbered 1 do not have certain organelles but are very efficient in function. Explain. Absence of nucleus in RBCs make them biconcave shaped. This increases their surface area for absorbing more oxygen. They do not have mitochondria, so they are unable to use oxygen for themselves. So, all oxygen is transported and delivered to cells and tissues. Absence of endoplasmic reticulum make them flexible, due to which this can easily move through narrow capillaries. Next, give biological explanations for the following. Education is very important for population control. Why? Education makes people aware about the advantages of having a small family and birth control measures turn which in turn help in controlling the population of the country. Thus, education is very important for population control. Next question. The placenta is an important structure for the development of fetus. Placenta is a disc-like structure which connects fetus with mother. It delivers food, oxygen to the fetus and removes carbon dioxide, nitrogenous waste from fetus. It acts as a barrier to germs and helps in secretion of estrogen and progesterone. Thus, placenta is an important structure for the development of fetus. Next, all the food chains begin with green plants. Green plants are the only autotrophs which prepare their own food. All the other living beings depend upon green plants for their food. So all the food chains begin with green plants. Plants grow. Next question. Plants growing in fertilized soil are often found to wilt if the soil is not adequately watered. If the soil is fertilized and not watered properly, then the concentration of the soil becomes high. As a result, soil becomes hypertonic as compared to the root cells of the plant. So, exosmosis takes place, which may result in drop of water level in plant and thus plant wilts. Next, we should not put sharp objects into our ears. Sharp objects, when put into ears, may rupture the eardrum, leading to deafness. So, we should not put sharp objects into our ears. Next question. The diagram given below represents a process in plants. The setup was placed in bright sunlight. Answer the questions that follow. Name the physiological process depicted in the diagram. Absorption of water by roots, transpiration through leaves. Why was oil added to water? Oil was added to water to prevent loss of water through evaporation. Next, when placed in bright sunlight for 4 hours, what do you observe with regard to initial and final weight of the plant? The final weight of the plant will be lesser than initial weight since the rate of transpiration is more than rate of absorption of water. Hence, leaves transpire, causing the reduction in the weight of the plant. Next, what happens to the level of water when it is setup is placed in humid conditions or windy conditions? In humid conditions, transpiration rate is very low, so level of water in jar will not show much change. On windy day, transpiration rate increases, so level of water in the jar will fall rapidly. Next, mention any three adaptations found in plants to overcome the process mentioned in sunken stomata. Nana. Explain mentioning three adaptation in plants to overcome the process. Modifications of leaves into spines are sunken stomata আর presence of thick layer of cuticle on the leaf surface কি ছিল কি what happens to the level of water when the setup is placed in humid conditions and windy conditions. In humid conditions transpiration rate is very low, so transpiration rate is very low, so level of water in the jar will not show much change. On a windy day transpiration rate increases, so level of water in the jar will fall rapidly. Next, mention three adaptations found in plants to overcome the process mentioned in uh, sunken stomata, modification of leaves into spines, presence of thick layer of cuticle on the leaf surface. Next, explain the term guttation. Guttation is the process of loss of water in the form of droplets from special openings called hydatodes present in margins or leaves. Next, a pea plant which is homozygous for the green pods which are inflated is crossed with homozygous plant for yellow pods which are constricted. Answer the questions. Give the phenotype and genotype of F1 generation. Phenotype is inflated green pods and genotype is capital G, small g, capital I, small I. Cross pollination has occurred to produce F1 generation. Write the phenotypic ratio of F2 generation 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. Next, write the possible combinations of gametes that can be obtained if two F1 hybrid plants are crossed. Baapre baap, this is a very difficult gamete formation. G capital I, G small I, small g capital I, small g small I. This is very, very complex. So the possible combination of gametes in F2 generation are G I মানে capital G capital G small g capital I small g small I. Page number 542 of this book. Next, state Mendel's law of segregation of gametes. Law of segregation states that two members of a pair of factors separate during the formation of gametes. They do not blend but segregate into different gametes. Next, question number 5. What is the scientific name of plant which Mendel used for his experiment on inheritance? Pisum sativum.